live on this planet, they live in the communities that are going to be hurt, and the public health challenges of climate change are real and they're scary. So I would encourage you to learn about those and use those as talking points. One thing that I think it's important to understand is that in the DNA of the American labor movement is strong sustainability genes. And here's how. Sam Gompers was the founder of the AFL. In the late 1800s, he was asked a question at a big conference, what does labor want? This was a question by the press. And he gave a very eloquent answer that formed a beautiful definition of sustainability 100 years before the term even existed. Now, he said what labor wants is more, and the press kind of cut him off there, used that quote to paint labor as greedy self-interest. They just want more. What he said was, we want more schoolhouses and less jails, more learning and less vice, more opportunity to cultivate our better natures. Read the quote. Google Sam Gompers and read that quote. Walter Reuther, the president of the CIO, the other half of the AFL-CIO, was the president of the Auto Workers Union at a speech in New York City in 1961. He said, what the labor movement is about is the problems we face on the shop floor every morning. But to make that the sole point is to miss the target. Because what good is an extra week's vacation we negotiate if the lake we take our kids to is polluted and they can't swim in it? What good is an extra $100 in pension if the world goes up in atomic smoke? And he would go on and link shop floor gains with broad social issues. So this idea of beyond the work site, labor as a force for common good is in our DNA. And you should understand it and talk about it when you meet with labor people. Now, policies. I'm going to just rattle off a few that you could support and work for. Renewable portfolio standards. Blue Green Alliance has done great work on this over a lot of years, almost since their inception at state levels. Policies that require a certain percentage of electricity be generated by renewable sources of electricity. You can fight to improve those. You can engage with unions in those battles to make for stronger RPS policies. Support money for infrastructure. This is really important because we can put a lot of people to work fixing our roads and bridges, fixing leaky natural gas pipelines without building new ones. All the ones out there leak and that methane is really bad. Fixing the water infrastructure system, both stormwater management. The stormwater management system was never designed to receive the amount of rainfall we're now getting. It needs to be completely rebuilt nationwide. The water delivery system, last summer around this time, 2 big water mains broke in LA, a state that can't afford to lose a drop. One of them was built in 1902, the other in 1912. That whole water delivery system is leaking and needs to be rebuilt. Infrastructure. Let's put America back to work. Fight for that. And you'll find allies in the labor movement. You can support collective bargaining rights everywhere you go. For public employees and beyond. Support the right to bargain, the right to organize, minimum wage fights, project labor agreements, PLAs is something unions really like because in publicly funded areas of work, they like an agreement that there will be certain standards set and union labor hired. That's something you can, when you're fighting for these things, you have a much better chance of getting unions on your side in the broader climate fight. So to wrap up, I'll say just one word about the timeline we face. When we formed the Labor Network for Sustainability, we made a decision that we would keep the timeline that science suggests we're on front and center in our work, and that's not something a labor leader can afford to do because of other things I've mentioned. But we decided to do that, and when you keep that timeline front and center in your work, it adds a level of urgency. It's why I'm so impressed with the fact that you are all here and what you're working on. So I'm going to end 1 minute early. I want extra credit for that, and thank you very much.